started out the broadcast today talking about George Washington, who is one of the greatest men who's ever lived, if you know his true story. Just an incredible person of integrity, of strength, across the board, of stamina, of endurance, of leadership, of male prowess. And he fought the Illuminati. You can read his letters, George Washington's letters on the Illuminati, trying to take over Masonry in the United States, trying to control a revolution, make it like the bloody French Revolution that came a few years later in 1800 or so that he predicted. So a lot of people project that onto the Founding Fathers, and it's more sophisticated. It was a lot of Christians. It was a lot of deists, theists, a lot of different people that came together, but it was a renaissance against all forms of oppression. And so there was a fake revolution in France out of the Illuminati to bring that in. Now, Katy Perry, and in fact, guys, I've got a stack of articles out there I forgot to bring in. Will you bring me the Katy Perry articles in? Thank you. Katy Perry came out in a cover story in Rolling Stone last week. And I've had her dad on the show. She, of course, was married to Russell Brand. And Russell Brand has been on the show a few times and said he is a listener. We need to try to get him back on. I like Russell. I think he's a real person. I don't agree with everything he says. He doesn't agree with me on everything. But he's a truth seeker. And, you know, they would listen to the show. That's part of their awakening. He got more away from wanting to be Illuminati-esque. She got more into it. And I'm going to leave it at that because I was able to get to know Katy Perry's dad because he's a pastor and friends with Dave Mustaine, of course, of Megadeth. But long story short, there really isn't an Illuminati. There is an Illuminati mindset, but the original Illuminati did exist. I've talked to high-level movie stars and government people who have told me that they have been part of sex orgy magic rituals under government facilities in places like London. Eyes wide shut stuff, but they're not killing anybody. But it's basically, you've seen the Rothschild photos that ended up getting, one of them died and it got released last year or so of you know, the images of dead babies and people wearing masks in castles. I mean, that stuff really goes on, folks. And of course, I know some of the folks in the Kubrick family, and they were really exposing some stuff there. I'm just going to leave it at that as well. But John Lennon, before he died, was waking up to all this and did some songs about it. I'm not allowed to talk about that either. I'm just going to stop right there. But a lot of people have confided in me pretty amazing information that, not specific names or anything. I don't want a hit team to come kill me. The whole point is that there are these subgroups that carry it on. But really, satanic rituals, Luciferian rituals, is more about hyping themselves up and being willing to do bizarre things. And that's the opposite of who George Washington was, a deep, devout Christian who spoke up against it and fought it. But when Katy Perry comes out and says, people say I'm in the Illuminati, and they mention Infowars.com in the news article, but I'm not, but I'd like to be part of it, that's what she's saying. They're adopting it as an archetype or as an image, where almost every Super Bowl or almost every Grammy or Emmy, there's big pyramids, women as witches, fire shooting out, ritualized sex magic. Why is the elite showing this now? Why are they pushing this now? Why are they promoting this now? Well, it's because they're trying to bring their great work in. I remember on the year 2000, they were going to cap the pyramid at Giza, and then they said this elite group on PBS, they reported, had decided the great work was not done yet, and they weren't going to cap it. Well, what is that great work? Mark Dice has written a whole bunch of best-selling books on it. He's got a new book coming out. He's done a lot of research on the Illuminati, and we'll have Mark about 5-10 minutes into the next hour. We have a guest coming in studio, a great lawyer friend of mine. But before we go any further, I want to give you the floor to break this down for people, because when you talk about the Illuminati, people that used to join the Illuminati at the outer levels were the best people in society, believing it was a renaissance. But in the inner group, it was actually about overthrowing all orders and trampling and being trampled on, and evil for evil's sake, turning the sky into fire, things like that. Extremely nihilistic, pro-death, pit of hell type garbage. That's my view on it. but they're just flaunting this. Oh, you people think there's an Illuminati. Well, we want to join it. So it exists, but it doesn't exist, and we're discredited, and Weird Al Yankovic comes out and makes fun of us as it's all in our face. This is an attempt, I think, to roll out the next level of this. Mark Dice of markdice.com. Thanks for coming on with us.
Appreciate it. Yeah, 5 years ago, hardly anybody knew about the Illuminati, or the only people who did were in patriot circles like your listeners, and people had to seek out the truth to find the Illuminati. But through social media, with Facebook and Twitter becoming so popular, the word has gotten out. Dan Brown's popular book, Angels and Demons, was partially responsible for this, but whitewashing the Illuminati, making them seem as if they were the good guys. And so we have an interesting scenario today where it went from being a very secretive society to hardly anybody knowing about it. Only a few people had written books about it, to now everybody supposedly thinks they know about it, and it's become a part of pop culture. As you said, the cover of Rolling Stone this week is Katy Perry with an Illuminati eye earring, and in the article they mention InfoWars, and she says, yeah, she wants to be a part of the Illuminati. And it's interesting. Most people, the pop culture maniacs, believe that the Illuminati is just a secret society of celebrities. And of course, in this Babylonian fallen society, that's the number one goal of most people. And it serves two purposes. It serves to condition the masses that their controllers are cool. They're the ultimate power structure that the little peon public want to be a part of. But this is also serving to help externalize the hierarchy, because as we know, the one world coming religion is going to be that of Luciferianism or Satanism. And they're all building up this big New World Order, Orwellian police state, unified currency, to unleash this global Messiah who will announce that he is God. This is a fulfillment of various prophecies in various religions. And so when this ultimately happens, it could be 30 years, it could be 50 years. It seems that we're in the final few pages of this experiment. Because of these pop stars promoting the Illuminati as cool, promoting Satanism as cool. I mean, we have Kesha literally posting satanic pentagrams on her Facebook page, drinking out of a heart, drinking blood out of a heart on stage. This global Masonic Messiah, this counterfeit Christ, will be hailed as the new king of the world, as unveiling this royal secret of the secret societies, which is ultimately that they have been worshiping Lucifer. And it's interesting to see this pop culture Illuminati brand sort of muddy the water so much that most people have no idea about the real Illuminati. You mentioned some of the real actual history of it in the past. I mean, Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati, Bavaria, the southern state in Germany, where he founded this, really modernized the ancient mystery school secret society. He was a communist. I mean, he was a tyrant, a scumbag, unlike our founding fathers who wrote out their grievances on paper, signed their name to it, and sent it to the king. Adam Weishaupt took a different approach, and that was to deceive other people that he supposedly was helping with his Illuminati organization. And we can get into some of the actual writings. I could read.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I've read those, and I mean, they're public. It's Encyclopedia Britannica, but you've gone out and dug out the actual manuscripts that have larger quotes, how they would manipulate the best in society to believe the Illuminati had this great goal, like we want to help the immigrant children, turn your guns in for the children. But in truth, their plan was the overthrow of reality itself and the destruction of human life.
Everything we see today, it's been modernized, but it has roots back to this cabal, this Adam Weishaupt cabal. And, you know, the people that go to Wikipedia for a source say, oh, well, it was abolished and it disintegrated in 1787. That's what Wikipedia says. Well, there was actually a fourth edict by the Duke of Bavaria issued. An edict is an act of law denouncing the Illuminati. And he wrote out these several edicts calling for them to be arrested and saying that anybody who was associated with them would be imprisoned, et cetera. But after the supposed mainstream historians and the Wikipedia unreliable page says that they were extinguished, 3 years later, in 1790, the Duke of Bavaria issued a fourth edict where he actually said that they were continuing to expand. I mean, I can read some of the edict here.
Well, George Washington wrote passels of letters decrying their infiltration of the U.S. military. This is after he was president, after he'd retired, and their infiltration of Masonry.
And that was after they were supposedly extinguished. And the person who took over the Illuminati after Adam Weishaupt had fled Bavaria was a man named J.J.C. Bode, Johann Bode. And his journal has been published. And he met with some high level Masons in France and introduced in his own journal. He says that he introduced the Illuminati into Masonic lodges, into what he called, they renamed it the Philadelphs, and into the Jacobin Society, as you had mentioned earlier. And so he literally imported the Illuminati, or exported the Illuminati into France to prepare for the French Revolution. Of course, that's called a conspiracy theory today. And many people will point to George Washington being a Mason. Many of the founding fathers say, well, George Washington was a master Mason. Well, a master Mason, as you know, Alex, is only a third level. It has nothing to do even with the Scottish Rite.
Well, exactly. English. Plus, I'm not even defending Masonry, but I mean, I've had a lot of family that were high-level Masons, the best people you could imagine. It was giant, ancient mystery schools that went back to King Solomon's temple and beyond. And so within Masonry and the higher degrees are basically all the secret pre-Christian stuff, including Judaic. So if you really want to get into it, it's Egyptian and Judaic, and it actually gets into the white priesthood of Egypt, and then you have kind of the Sith. That's the Star Wars modern cosmology, is you have the Sith that are the dark side of it, and then you have the Jedis that are the good side of it. And, of course, that's New Agey because it's the old age, it's ancient. I'm not even defending it. It's just that it wasn't something to supplant Christianity. It was the Masons that built most of the cathedrals in Europe. It's that it always had that Illuminati Sith vein in it, and then it was reflowering under the Jacobins and under Adam Weishaupt.
Manly P. Hall, a 33rd degree Mason, considered to be Masonry's greatest philosopher by the governing body of Freemasonry, wrote in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which your viewers can see is here on my shelf, that he believed that the secret societies, the mystery schools got taken over, like you said, you called them the Sith, making a Star Wars reference, but got taken over by corrupt men that hijacked these really just early fraternities, early universities, and then kept everybody out of the way, kept everybody dumbed down. And it's a perversion, really, of the ancient and early sciences. And in many Masonic books themselves, I mean, they will admit that Freemasonry is a secret society within a secret society. And if you read the original writings, I hated history in school, but I've come to love it in the last 10 years.
Well, they try to make it as boring as possible and only create division with it, and basically teach baloney.
I mean, if you actually look, people talking about the Illuminati, this, and it's becoming a joke, really, if you search social media, because so many people think they know about it. And
oh, yeah, it's a big pickup line now for like 18-year-old women to tell them, hey, come have sex with me, and I'll teach you about the Illuminati. And then the idiots doing it have no idea. It's like people pretending to be Nigerian princes.
I have people from Nigeria contacting me because there's people out there offering to join the Illuminati and charging money. We had a big figure infomercial guy out here in America that sold memberships basically and said that a secret council of former Illuminati members joined him, and you could learn the Illuminati secrets for $1,000. But the real
truth. Yeah, that was Kevin Trudeau, by the way, who I had no idea 5-6 years ago when he wanted to come on the show and interview him. I knew him, from promoting herbs and his book, and hey, y'all have a right to sell a book. I had no idea his other books literally said that. And then he said he saw aliens at Area 51, and that the aliens talked to him. And I went to dinner with him, and he said, yes, I saw the aliens. And I said, dude, you're full of bull. I can tell you're lying. And I left. And I'm not throwing him under the bus. It's just that, yeah, he's another one of these guys.
Yeah, I used to be a big fan of Kevin Trudeau and have a lot of respect for him as well.
No, he wrote some good books that I read, but he also wrote pure crap. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he is a slick-talking salesman, and unfortunately, he went off the rail and tried to take advantage of this Illuminati hype. And the global information network that he started, GIN, was $1,000 to join and $150 a month to supposedly learn the insider Illuminati secrets from supposed members that have defected. So
who knows? Maybe he believes he's telling the truth. He saw the aliens at Area 51 and saw the little dead bodies. And I'm not trying to even attack him. The point is, I was just backing up what you said.
Yeah, and I didn't want to throw him under the bus either, but the point is that in this pop culture mania, the real core Illuminati, the facts have almost gotten buried. And my book, The Illuminati Facts and Fiction, came out in 2009, 5 years ago, before it really started get out of control. And if you really want to know the truth and the core of the Illuminati, you can look and find their actual original writings. I mean, they've been translated into English.
You republished proofs of this conspiracy that I read when I was like 15 years old. My dad had an original copy about 100 years old, or not an original, it'd be 200 years old, but he had a reprint from like 1898 or something that I read all about the Illuminati.
Yeah, a science professor called natural philosophy back then, named John Robeson, published a book which is still available today. I republished it, Proofs of a Conspiracy, and he included many of the original confiscated writings. I mean, it's incredible because back then there was obviously no radio, no television, but there were bookstores and magazines and newspapers. And I mean, straight from Adam Weishaupt's own pen, he wrote, by establishing reading societies and subscription libraries and taking these under our direction and supplying them through our labors, we may turn the public mind whichever way we want. In a like manner, we will obtain influence in the military academies, the printing houses, bookseller shops, and in short, all offices which have any effect in either forming or managing or directing the mind of man. We will get the literary journals. We will take carefully timed pieces, meaning articles, to make citizens and the princes a little more noticed for certain little slips, meaning to use the media to attack the people. I mean, he even wrote about using feminism to break down the family, and this was over 200 years ago.
And now Madonna and Katy Perry kneel to the Illuminati and beg to be given admittance on the plain of southern England. Really interesting lawyer, Jamie Balasia, is running for political office in Texas. He's a great radio interview, a lot of great constitutional information. He was a cop for a long time in Austin, and I ran into him at a concert a while back. But the point is that he's going to be in studio with us, talking about a lot of different issues. Before we go any further, we've got 5 minutes left here and 5 minutes the next segment with Mark Dice, so I want to invite back again very, very soon. But when you look at what he was just reading, Adam Weishaupt's letters there that are public and that the German government was able to get and confirm, it's all the things we see today. This is an Illuminati conspiracy. This is their program of human control. People ask, well, its roots go back to Germany and France, but where is it today? Well, there's clear evidence they founded Skull and Bones at Yale, and I want Mark, who's an expert on that, to speak to that. It then founded CIA. That's indisputable. And even major directors put out movies like The Good Shepherd, where it shows a king doing satanic rituals dressed up as death, with them bathing in feces and being urinated on. Now, I mean, let me tell you, that's just when they're 20 years old, folks. And it just gets crazier from there. So let's get into that. Mark Dice, what are the heirs to the Illuminati today? More on Skull and Bones and other areas. Because when you see Katy Perry people, they're groveling, I guess, to make the Illuminati the new royalty, which they claim they wanted to overthrow, but now they're becoming, worshiping them.
Yeah, you can see a clear line in history from Skull and Bones, or from the Illuminati to Skull and Bones to the Council on Foreign Relations, founded in 1921, which your audience is familiar with, but the general public thinks it's a committee in Congress, to the Bilderberg Group, which supposedly just didn't exist for 60 years, and then, well, now it does exist, but it's just not important, to the Bohemian Grove. But there's a couple interesting direct connections between the Skull and Bones Society over there at Yale University and the original Bavarian Illuminati in Germany. Most people familiar a little bit with Skull and Bones. Of course, it's just said to be a fraternity, even though the members don't join until they're a senior. It's actually a senior society gearing them for a postgraduate network, but you'll never hear that in the mainstream press. It's just a fraternity of rich kids. So Skull and Bones, founded in 1832, coincidentally enough, directly after one of the founders, William Huntington Russell, was studying over in Germany abroad, just around that same time that the Illuminati went deeper into hiding, was expanding their activity and their membership. So we have one of the founding members of Skull and Bones, again, a senior society, studying in Germany, where the Illuminati is active, comes over, founds Skull and Bones. the first secret society at Yale University, the first senior society, who, of course, their symbols are all of death and devil worship. But that's not the only connection. We have a break-in. Some students broke into the Skull and Bones headquarters in 1876, and they called themselves File and Claw. They published a newsletter. They used a file and filed away some of the security bars in the headquarters there, where, by the way, the members have a session every Thursday night and every Sunday night to prep them for their positions potentially within the power structure.
That's right. And of course, if your son, who may have 5 kids, but this son looks like a good prospect, you send him. If he doesn't like to worship Satan and have orgies with males and females, well, he's not going to be ready to cut babies' hearts out later. And again, cutting a baby's heart out just gets you ready to burn a country down. Hail Satan, they say. Well, not me, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Satan's world. Open borders, Ebola being promoted, dollar being devalued, abortion, death. Constitutional lawyer, former police officer, Jaime Balasia, running for major office in the state of Texas, is going to be joining us coming up. But I want to give Mark Dice the next 5 minutes the floor. Mark, so many other facets of the Illuminati. Keep breaking it down. It's fascinating.
Now, I want to talk about what these students found when they broke into the Skull and Bones headquarters. And I certainly don't advocate burglary, but this is what happened. They broke into this headquarters in 1876, wrote a newsletter, published it, spread it around campus. And inside this headquarters, which has no windows, where they meet every Thursday and Sunday night for sessions to prepare them for their positions where no alcohol, again, is served, because, just taking over the world's serious business. They found a plaque on the wall written in German that was given to them by their German brothers. They also found a plaque with 4 human skulls, a picture of 4 human skulls, and below it was written in German, which one is the king, which one is the beggar, which one is the wise man, and which one is the fool. And so many people may not understand what that means, but if you read John Robeson's book, the first book really written about the Illuminati in English, again, covering the original confiscated writings that were confiscated on 3 different occasions in Germany. He explained one of the induction rituals to a particular level of the Bavarian German Illuminati, and a candidate was shown a skull and asked whether it was a king, a wise man, a beggar, or a fool. And then the answer to the riddle is, to them, they said, well, it doesn't matter because all is the same in death. And what that means to them is they don't believe in any sort of an afterlife. It's a social Darwinistic philosophy. And so we have the founder of Skull and Bones studying in Germany, where the Illuminati is active, when the Illuminati is expanding, coming back, starting a secret society that became so powerful. I mean, presidents, starting the CIA, starting the American Educational Society, the Historical Society, etc. Just largely responsible for starting all these bogus wars based on lies. So we have this group with the same goals, the same symbols, the same rituals, the same language. I mean, by the way, they eat off of Adolf Hitler's silverware, reportedly, during their Sunday session. So it's not just a conspiracy theory. It's not a fraternity. There's clear indications that they were directly connected to the Skull and Bone, or to the Bavarian German Illuminati. Of course, they kneel down and kiss a human skull and are given a new name, and mostly demonic names like Long Devil or Beelzebub or Baal, as they're reborn into this brotherhood of death, which teaches them the secret of Satanism, the royal secret, which is their philosophy, which is carried on in secret, which now we have, again, being promoted in the mainstream by pop stars, just promoting Satanism as cool. As we can see, Christianity is completely under assault. It's fine to criticize and blaspheme and defame Jesus and Christianity, but you can't criticize certain other religions, otherwise bad things will happen to your career. Katy Perry, by the way, of course, scrubbed a necklace that was considered blasphemous to the Muslims in her, Illuminati-themed Dark Horse of the Apocalypse music video, because Muslims started a petition because she used black magic and destroyed a figure who had an Allah penance, God in Arabic. So they bow down to that, but of course, it's cool for her to be burning Christians at the stake during her Grammy performance as well. And, what's interesting, last month, the Bohemian Grove happened, another just an offshoot of this, satanic brotherhood, this invisible empire. And of course, not a word in any of the mainstream press As you know, the Bilderberg Group slowly has been covered a little bit because they can't cover it up with social media, with shows like yours. It would be obvious at this point that there is a cover-up. So occasionally, the last couple of years, we've seen a little bit in the mainstream about the Bilderberg Group. It is somewhat easy to dismiss it as, oh, it's just a private meeting. Don't worry about the fact that we haven't mentioned it for the last 60 years.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.